Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us again for another session of Leadership Matters with Dr. Sharon. I am Dr. Sharon H. Porter, the host, educator, author, and entrepreneur. And boy, do I have a treat for you tonight. My guest, Dr. Lesli C. Meyers, Superintendent for Brockport Central School District, has dedicated her life to the pursuit of high-quality education. Dr. Meyers received her bachelor's degree in psychology and her master's degree in counseling and human development, both from the University of Rochester. She continued her educational journey by earning a master's degree in urban educational administration and her doctorate of education in executive leadership from St. John Fisher College. She has made a tremendous impact on the field of education. She was the first African-American president of the New York State School Counselor Association, and she also testified before the United States Congress. Dr. Meyers is passionate about her professional work and volunteerism. She looks forward to several years of continued service to teachers, students, parents, and administrators. And I would like to welcome Dr. Lesli C. Meyers to Leadership Matters. Dr. Meyers, welcome.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that warm introduction. Thank you.
Absolutely. I am just so excited that we finally connected.
Yes.
Just so excited to have you here. And I gave a good bit of information about you, but please take this opportunity to tell us just a little bit more about Dr. Meyers.
Sure. You know, I am in my 25th year as an educator, and it really went by in the blink of an eye. And I say that because I've enjoyed every single one of those 25 years. My career started as a high school counselor, and so I had the opportunity to really get to understand children up close and personal by building meaningful and impactful relationships. And I'm so grateful that I had that as my entry point into education, because given the landscape now and what we're seeing with some of the needs of the children that we're working with, we know that trauma-informed care is critically important right now. We know we have students who are impoverished or economically disadvantaged or have other issues or concerns that sometimes prevent them from being as successful as they could be in elementary, middle, or high school. I'm really grateful that I have that counseling background, and I really take that with me into the superintendency. People often ask me, why in the world would you ever want to be a superintendent of schools? And I emphatically and resoundingly say, why not? Why not have the opportunity to have an impact on an entire school system? Why not have the ability to advocate on behalf of the needs of your students? Why not have an influence in policy, educational policy, that will hopefully not only impact your school district, but children from across the state? And so I have to let everyone know that I love what I do. It is a 24/7 job. I believe that if you do the superintendency, if you do anything well, you're giving it your all. And I wouldn't want to do anything else right now in my life but be a superintendent of schools. I love it. On the personal side, I'm a hiker. I have to brag a little. I'm a really, really good cook. And when I retire, which I'm eligible in 6 years, but I doubt I will, I actually want a Food Network television show. So I love to cook. I love spending time with my family. And I do have one thing I have to admit to everyone. I participate in retail therapy. Now, things are on sale when I go buy them usually. I'm really good at finding good deals, but yeah, I definitely partake of some shopping.
I love that. Guilty pleasures, that's all.
Especially shoes, shoes.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I tell you, in 25 years, that is
25.
Really outstanding. And so tell us a little bit about your school district.
Sure. Brockport Central School District is in Western New York. So that is up far up in New York State. We actually are about an hour away from Niagara Falls, to give you a clue. We're a suburb of Rochester, New York, which is known for Xerox, Eastman Kodak, the University of Rochester, etc. My district has about 3,500 students, and demographically, we're about 80% white, 8% Latino, Latina, 4% African American, and then the rest is Asian, biracial, etc. We're considered to be a suburban school district, but we do have quite a bit of poverty, and our free and reduced percentages rest just slightly under 50%. So we're a suburban district with a rural flair. One of the things that I think is so incredible that we have really maximized is the fact that we are so close to a major college, and that's the College at Brockport. And literally a fence is the only thing that separates the college from the Brockport Central School District. So we have maximized our partnership opportunities with the college, and we really have a reciprocal, symbiotic relationship that has been impactful for both institutions. So I'm very proud of that.
Wow, that must be an awesome partnership that you have established there.
It is, and I have to say that I have an incredible relationship with the college president, who is a female, Dr. Heidi McPherson. We meet every 4 to 6 weeks to ensure that our strategic plans are aligned, to ensure that processes, procedures are aligned, so that we really have formed a pre-K through 16 entity, which we think is critically important.
That is awesome. And really speaking of those partnerships, is there intentional partnering when it comes to teacher development and leadership development with the university?
Absolutely. That's actually the first touch point, or the first place that we really wanted to strengthen that partnership. We received a grant a few years ago that really enabled us to jumpstart that. So we have programs in place now where we obviously have many of the undergraduate and graduate students who are student teaching or doing internships with us, but we have co-developed professional development for both interns as well as our teaching staff. We look at teaching practices, and we have the luxury of having them right next door. So they are research-based, they have the best practices. So we have that at our arsenal, and we work very, very closely with the School of Education. The Dean, Dr. Thomas Hernandez, meets with us on a regular basis, monthly, sometimes shorter than that, and we have well-articulated plans. We have memorandums of understanding between our institutions for that articulated partnership. Absolutely.
That is awesome. And so with your principal leaders, your ministry,
yes.
What is your biggest development for preparing your next in line to lead? We know that the principal pipeline is critical to the succession of any school district. What intentional is done to help prepare your assistant principals or even teacher leaders to step into that role?
Sure. I do have to brag just a little bit about our district, and I think this speaks to just the staff we have. We both have the New York State Teacher of the Year in Brockport, and we have the New York State Assistant Principal of the Year in Brockport. So that has been incredible, and I think it just speaks to the individuals that we have working in our district community. But as far as building that pipeline, we have very intentional conversations and ask people, what is it that you want to do next? Is it that you want to move from a teacher to an assistant principal? And then do you want to move from an assistant principal to a principal? So we have very intentional conversations. We have very robust professional development. As I said, that we in part develop with the college at Brockport. And so we are working to ensure that if individuals want to take or make that next step, that they have the training and the skills needed. We also, with our partnership, tuition is 100% covered at the college at Brockport. So that is certainly an incentive, right? I'm seeing your face. That certainly is an incentive for individuals to, oh, Sharon, I can't hear you.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm
Oh,
totally listening.
oh, you were muted. Okay, because I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. So we want to ensure that people are well prepared. So we do training. All of our instructional administrators meet monthly. It's called the Instructional Cabinet, and we look at everything from how to effectively observe and evaluate our teaching staff. We're looking at how the Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, how that's going to be implemented in the Brockport Central School District. We look at data and making data-driven decisions. So that is articulated within our administrative PD. But we also have teacher leadership. We have varied subcommittees where teachers are the facilitators or co-facilitators. So we really try to figure out how to develop leaders and not just relegate that to a title, but to make sure that's well articulated across our campus.
So, we have to go back to this 100%.
Uh,
You can't just say that and then go to something else.
sure.
So explain to us that process, because that is a true partnership there.
Sure.
Explain that. Is it a certain number? How does that work?
Well, actually, we as a district have committed to that. So if folks go to the college at Brockport or any other SUNY school, so State University of New York, we will cover the tuition. So that includes if a teacher is working on a master's, their first master's, to become permanently certified. That's if a teacher wants to go and earn their administrative degree, that is covered. While the college at Brockport doesn't offer a doctorate, there are other SUNY schools. Buffalo is not too far away from us. Individuals could earn a doctor, and we cover the tuition or the coursework for that.
Okay, Dr. Meyers, you have to know that is unheard of, right?
Mm.
that is absolutely phenomenal. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely, just kudos, and I applaud your school district
Mm-hmm.
for that investment in your staff.
Sure.
That professional development, you are not only talking it, you're walking it. And
Sure.
that is just phenomenal.
Yes. Yeah.
So kudos to you guys for that. Oh my goodness. So, that leads me to morale. I mean, that must give a morale boost like none other.
Sure.
As educators, we are often bogged down with salaries and all of that, just things that we normally hear of education, but
Yes.
to have your schooling taken care of is huge.
Sure.
So talk to me a little bit about the climate and culture of your school district, and then how that matriculates through your schools.
Sure. I think the key thing that I want to start with here is our strategic plan, and it'll become clear in just a moment why I'm mentioning the strategic plan. We have several core beliefs. We have 6 or 7 core beliefs, and the very first one is students first. And we were very intentional about ensuring that was a critical component. So we work hard to make sure that shows up in everything that we do with our children. This year has been particularly difficult, Sharon. We had a very difficult personnel matter. We had a high school student that completed suicide right before the Christmas holiday or December break, and just had some other difficult situations. So that has been tough, but it really speaks, I believe, to the resiliency of our staff. And people started dragging, and it became difficult, but people really rallied together, banded together to make sure that personnel issue was handled well, and that both staff and students received the time and attention they needed. When you have a suicide, that impacts your entire school community. And so it's been difficult. And the other thing that I think challenges not just my district, but many districts in New York, and I would even say across the country, is that sometimes the value or the lack of value that people put on education, right? People have a lot to say about us. Maybe that we're overpaid, we don't work hard enough. But I have to say that I have some of the most hardworking and dedicated staff around. And like I said, to have 2 staff members win achievement or recognition at the state level, I think is absolutely incredible. But, we're certainly not a perfect district. No district is, but we work hard to make sure that people feel supported. And we really try to do our best to build those relationships that are so important, because we really are in the relationship business, right? Certainly teaching and learning are the critical elements, but it's all about relationships. And so we work really hard, but we continue to move forward, and we continue to try to figure out how to make sure that people do feel supported and encouraged in our organization.
Wow. And so I cannot go on without saying, because I was first connected to you because of your life leadership lessons. And I was so excited to see that you have actually put it in publication.
I did.
And you will be having the book signing in April, I think.
Yes.
April 22nd. Oh,
yes, ma'am.
So please take us through the process, because I totally enjoyed reading them and I'm like, okay, this really needs to be captured. And that's exactly what you've done. So please share with us
Sure.
a little bit about that.
Now this, I want people to be very clear that we did not plan this, but Sharon, you have to know that you in part inspired me to write the book. I'll be honest with you, with corresponding through LinkedIn. You said, Dr. Meyers, please keep those leadership lessons coming, because I coach and support many individuals across the country, and those are really inspiring. So that was planted for me. And then another person through social media, because I post a lesson, kind of on a whim when I felt like it. Another person said, hey, Les, you got to do this. And it just so happened that a woman who is a Facebook friend of mine said, hey, I'm a publisher. If you want to get this started, if you want to get this moving, let's do it. And so I felt something literally stirring in my spirit and my soul saying, you know what, if you don't reach out and do this now, you're not going to do it. And recently somebody told me that only about 15% of individuals who start a book actually finish. And so I made the connection, and I had about I have 31 lessons total. So one for every day of the month. And I had 14 lessons completed by the time I met with my publisher in November. And because people ask me, well, how long did it take? And I say, well, I created 17 more lessons in 2 months. But the other 14 lessons were very organic, and kind of as the spirit literally moved me, I would write them. But it was an amazing process. And I will tell you, I had a major car accident where my car was totaled in between that time. And I had a concussion, and I couldn't write for over a week. But on January 1st, 2018, I submitted my first draft to my publisher. We went back and forth, obviously, over the weeks and months. And last week, I have, shamelessly a plug, a finished copy where I am now a published author. Life's Leadership Lessons is really written in a storytelling format. It's almost like chicken soup for the soul, but it's all about leadership. So I tell a story from either my personal or professional life. And so I'm very transparent. I peel back many vulnerabilities or frailties or even failures that I've experienced in my life. And so I tell a quick story, and then I shift it by saying, okay, so why is this particular story I just shared with you important? What are the leadership components here? And so I talk about that for a little bit, and then I pose a couple of essential questions at the end, and then you finalize that lesson by having an opportunity to reflect. So you can journal and say, this really made me think, or even, I didn't really like this lesson, but it gives you an opportunity to reflect on the lesson and talk about potential next steps. And the goal is really to just get people thinking about leadership from a storytelling perspective, but figure out, okay, you know what? I am a leader. I'm a leader if I'm a superintendent, but I'm also a leader if I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm a leader if I, am an undergraduate student. No matter what my rank or file is in life, I'm a leader. And that was really the goal of this, is to help people understand that we all are leaders, and it just isn't relegated to a title or having DR period in front of your name.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just congratulations. And the book signing is April 22nd.
Yes.
Share the information.
Sure. The book signing is April 22nd from 3 to 6 p.m. in lovely, sunny Rochester, New York at the Village Gate. And it's so exciting because people are buying tickets for it. I get the notifications, and people are just incredibly supportive. The thing that gave me so much joy yesterday, for example, was I was on Facebook, and one of my former students, when I worked in a high school, tagged me. She had the book in her hand, and she said, "I got my copy. You better go get yours. Can't wait to read." And so that gives me so much joy that people are purchasing it, they're buying it, and they're reading it. And, my goal, Sharon, was really, if I sell a lot of copies, that would be awesome, and that would be financially lucrative. But the fact that I was able to put my thoughts, my passion, my heart into a book and actually bring it to fruition is just so exciting for me. So I am absolutely thrilled. My feet have barely touched the ground this past week since it's been out.
Absolutely. And really it's testament to, I have a podcast and a company, Write the Book Now. And it really is a call to action, because each of us, I do believe, have something, a story to tell, a legacy to leave.
Sure.
And publishing it really helps us do that. And so when I saw that, I was like, yes, because every week I'm saying, write the book now.
Yes.
Just do it. Just do it. And so I was so excited to see that.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to order my copy. So just congratulations to you and everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. And so really going back to that, it really also speaks to the power of social media.
Yes.
And how life has changed and shifted, even for us educators, because at one time, educators would shy away from social media. And
sure.
So now the times have changed, and we have to, of course, be on there responsibly, but really talk to us a little about how it really has impacted what you do and what your leaders in your schools, what's going around and helping them brand their schools and bring parents and all of that good stuff. How has that impacted you guys?
Sure. I think I'll answer that by sharing a quick story with you. Facebook, to Facebook or not Facebook, right, as a school district. And we grappled with that, and we started our district Facebook page. And so we spent a lot of time researching and watching other districts, what they were doing. I have an amazing PR and communications individual who works with me and supports our district. And so we had a lot of conversation. So we put it into place, we launched it, and, Twitter or Facebook, they have these data analytics where you can look at how many, Twitter looks at how many tweets either you've tweeted or other people who has retweeted you. Facebook does the same thing. And we could not believe within under a month how many people gave our Facebook page a look, how many people shared information that we were putting out. It was much more, we had such more of a reach than our snail mail, our district, newsletters or publications. And so we just really have learned to make Facebook and Twitter work for us. We share videos. Last year, for the first time during the leading up to the budget section, the budget vote, we always have elections for board members, and we used Facebook to live time the Meet the Candidates night. And so it allowed people who typically might not be able to make it out to either watch it live in the privacy of their own home or at another time because it gets archived. So I really embrace social media. We do a lot of tweeting. And parents and families love to see their children highlighted or mentioned. And so people tell me all the time that they feel much more connected to the district, and they like the fact that I'm very active on social media. And so I've just really learned to embrace it. And you do occasionally have the negative, you deal with it and you move on from that. But I found it's been overwhelmingly positive for us to use social media. I love using it.
That's awesome. And we have a question. Is your book available now for purchase?
Yes, it is. It's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon, and that was a wonderful educator, Marion Wilkins, who was one of my former teachers. So Marion, you can go on Amazon right now and get it.
Type in Life's Leadership Lessons and it pops up.
Hold it up one more time, Dr. Myers.
Sure.
Yes, I love it.
There it is.
That's what drew me to Dr. Myers. I was
this is my baby.
Absolutely, I love it. And so finally, when I'm talking to principals on Leadership Matters, I ask them to give a word of encouragement for assistant principals who are striving to be principals. And when I talk to superintendents, my questions for you is, what information would you have for those school leaders or district leaders in central office that are striving to become superintendents?
I have to start by saying, if it is possible for me, it is absolutely possible for you. I've been in this role for 6 years, and 6 years ago, I will never forget, May 2012 is forever etched on my mind, because I pulled into a parking spot here at Brockport and I was so incredibly nervous. Doubt, fear, anxiety really crowded my mind, and I thought, you know what, I can't do this. Maybe it's not the right time. I'm not supposed to be a superintendent. I was an assistant superintendent at the time. And so I sat there literally paralyzed for probably what equated to be a few moments. And so, I had these thoughts reverberating through my mind. And then I thought about the sacrifices that my parents had made for me. And I thought about the sacrifices that, the first African-American female superintendent had to endure, or the first individual who earned their PhD. And I said, you know what? I deserve to be here. My experiences, my skills, and my talents make me more than a viable candidate for the superintendency. And I remember this still small voice said to me, girl, either go hard or go home. Because you can't hesitate as a superintendent. And so, literally the rest is history. But I say to folks, you have to be well prepared. You have to put the time in. You can't just skate through and think that you can move up the ladder quickly. You have to pay your dues. You have to study to show yourself approved. You have to know how to network incredibly well. And you have to know a lot. You can't just know a little about a lot. You have to know a lot about a lot. And so if you certainly are willing to put in the time, if you are willing to be a hard worker, and I'll say this, even if you have an extreme passion and love for children, there's no reason why that you can't be a superintendent. Sometimes it's a matter of being in the right place at the right time. I tell people that my journey and my story really is getting to the superintendency was accidentally on purpose, right? And so I didn't start as an educator, and even when I became an assistant principal, I had no desire to be a superintendent. But I had people who believed in me, who pushed me, who said, you know what, Les, you need to go and be, you need to be an assistant principal. Then I moved into central office at an entry level. Then I was told, you know what, you need to be an assistant superintendent. And I had hands helping me and encouraging me along the way. And so I would say find someone who is where you want to be, and that's what I've done, and ask them to be your mentor and to support you. There's a group of women of us from across the United States. We actually are looking to put together conferences and actually start consulting to help particularly women and women of color get into the superintendency or get into leadership positions, because it is difficult and it is challenging, and we want to give back because people supported us along this journey. So find a mentor, work hard and really know how to work your network, because that's critical. And don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone.
Yes, absolutely. And my final question, as always, this is Leadership Matters. Why, in your opinion, Dr. Meyers, does leadership matter?
Because leaders are so influential and impactful. And, not to make mention of anybody, but we see certain leaders who are in the position, right? They have the rank and the title, but they're not being responsible in their leadership. And they're not taking into consideration that they have influence and they have impact. So leadership matters because you have followers, right? You have people who are looking to you for answers, who count on you for making meaningful decisions. And so I truly believe leadership matters because leaders have a moral and an ethical responsibility to lead with integrity, to lead with grace, to lead with humility, and to lead with intelligence, right? And so leadership can make or break a culture. It can make or break an organization. And so leadership unequivocally matters and is critical.
I love it. Guys, what a wonderful interview tonight with Dr. Lesli C. Meyers. I am just so honored and so humbled that you have taken the time to be with us and give us some golden nuggets. Everyone is saying just wonderful information. And I thank you, Dr. Meyers. I truly, truly thank you.
You're more than welcome. I feel like I've known you, like we're just besties or girlfriends. So it is my hope. I'm actually going to do a book launch in the DMV area in June. So it is my hope that if not there, that eventually our paths will cross and we will physically get to meet each other. You are very inspiring. You have so much great energy and I love it. So thank you for what you do.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. I cannot wait for that DMV launch.
Yes.
Guys, thank you so much for joining and chiming in. Those of you who are going to catch the replay, we thank you as well. Again, this is Dr. Sharon, educator, author, entrepreneur, saying leadership matters.